Good evening. Now going to read a prepared speech from the investors. The reason we've gone directly is it's a nuclear option. We don't currently have the numbers to be able to force a vote through. So what I want to do is outline the position, because what you're hearing in the press is currently a Labour Party position. They will not reveal or have not been transparent with the airport. So what they're saying is, if you vote this down, it's finished. So what I want to do is outline the truth. And this has come from the investors as a nuclear option. So in terms of what the councillors are voting on tomorrow, is option one will involve a yes vote. So that it means a yes that supports a council under an airport under municipal control, and that means there'll be limited funding available, up to 193 million. We've all seen the business case, of which 47 million pounds only will go invested into Fly, and what that means is you'll only have just enough money to get the airport operational, under operational readiness with Munich, and that means there's little money for investment to be able to secure the airlines involved. So what that means in practice is what you'll get is a limited service from the likes of TUI on W flights. You'll get limited cargo. There'll be no investment in hangars. There'll be no investment needed to bring the big cargo carriers. The total cost of the airport, which I'll touch on later, there is insufficient funding within the Doncaster pot, and there will be no new funding, because once that £138 million has gone, there'll be no money left for anything else. Option two, you have led to believe that if the councillors choose option two, which is a no, that you will get the end of the project. It'll be the end of the project. It is what you're led to believe from your leader, Mayor Ros Jones. Now, the investors want to say this: if you vote for option two, what you'll get is an enhanced airport offering, which is going to involve a significant amount of investment, which I'll touch on in a bit. So that will probably mean that you will get a low-cost carrier that will base at the airport, possibly with their own terminal, and you'll get a world-class cargo handler, and with the funds to be able to invest in the infrastructure. So now I'm going to read a prepared speech, which has come from the investors. So what they want to do is, the reason they are wanting to get that story out there is so that people are aware of the truth. So if you go down the £193 million option, that will entirely be spent on covering operating losses and loan interest. So it's sunk money that is mortgaging the rest of the entire gain share, which is 30 years. If you choose the private option, the council will receive £100 million for the equity, or 90% equity in Fly Doncaster, with 10% given to CVC, so they will benefit from 10% of the profits. Before this is even open, you've got the potential that there's been discussions with Vincent Hodder at Leeds Bradford, who has got a ready-to-go legal case, and that will potentially cause a delay beyond 2029, 2030, of which currently in the business case they do not have the funding for, and this could be fairly expensive if you were to get King's Counsel, and that could lead to the collapse of the airport. Vincent has said that if Fly went down the private route, he will take that off the table. He's happy to compete on a like-for-like cash basis. Now, the reason this probably could fail, and it's the big elephant in the room, is that the airport requires significant capital investment. As you are very well aware, seemingly has very old infrastructure which will require significant funding in excess of hundreds of millions that Damien doesn't have. Under a private deal, there'll be a fully funded, world-leading Rolls-Royce green energy and carbon capture solution. Under the deal with Peel, there's a risk that to enable sustainable travel and meet freight cargo numbers, they will need investment in the infrastructure in the rail, which has no public funding. As you are aware, the £30 million of funding has been taken by Oliver for the purposes of reopening or mobilising the airport. The private sector deal is fully funded and will take care of this infrastructure. It's part of the business plan. Under the current rule, under the current loan rules, the £128 million and all the associated interest and the lease costs all sit with the taxpayer. Under the private sector deal, this will be removed. There'll be no risk of the company requesting grants from the taxpayer or from Oliver. The current costs of running Fly, as you've seen in my regular posts, is currently about £10 million, and then the cash burners of £1 million. That will be immediately saved should this airport be sold to the private sector deal. I'll talk about the private sector deal later. The current costs of running the airport has a wage bill of around £6 million, all being covered by our local council taxpayers. Under a takeover, all these costs will be two-pit across, so an instant saving of around £6 million. Under the business plan, they have confirmed that the business will run at an £81 million loss before interest and tax, depreciation and amortisation. Under the private sector deal, there'll be a much faster rollout and accelerated growth, which means that the private sector will see a profit after 3 years. With the current gain share, that means there is no money left for the economy, and as you've seen today in the budget, there won't be any further funding for the region. And the private sector deal, the gain share is able to be used not only on Gateway East for supporting infrastructure and jobs, but also across the city centre. In the business case that is going tomorrow, they will say that they are going to cease the project and they will close down the airport if they don't win the vote. But that's not true, because there is a private sector deal on the table. The private sector deal is around £500 or £600 million. Of that, there are costs pertaining to the airport in the first 4 or 5 years of around £400 million. If Damien is unable to meet those costs, the airport will close anyway. It will cease trading and the land will be handed back to Peel. That is something that the Save DSA campaign, the Chamber of Commerce, they will not tell you the truth. And with losses, trading losses of about £81 million over 9 years, that is unlikely to attract an investor. With all the experience I've had in infrastructure funds, there's no way we would be touching that. And so the likelihood of an infrastructure fund or a pension fund taking that on is zero. They have forecast in the business case £300 million worth of profits. Those £300 million is achievable, but it would require a lot of capital investments, which the council do not have. There's a political risk in that Oliver is up for election in 2028 and the general election will come in 2029. If a new administration removes the game share and or the incoming government removes a combined authority, the funding will be gone, or it could be dramatically reduced, as you've seen under the current administration. They've taken the £30 million rail fund, so there's a lot of political risk involved in this. Now, their plan to you, to the workers of DSA, is that they will guarantee sustainable, high-paying jobs over a long term with none of the risk of £81 million worth of losses. Now, the group have prepared a statement which they have said they want to issue to the councillors who are making this decision tomorrow. And that statement, let's just see. So I'll now read out the statement. So on the airport, there's no grid capacity in and around it for 8 years before the grid gets upgraded. We have arranged a full power solution backed by Rolls-Royce gas turbines with full carbon capture to ensure that all the facilities we intend to build out rapidly have energy to enable rollout of high-paid jobs within the airport area. Without this power supply, development of anything in the area is impossible. Year 1 and 2 of true development to make it truly work on a financial basis will require in excess of £400 million. We are committed and ready to step up and create a sustainable airport city, continuously expand and invest in all aspects of the project. The public funds will never be enough to make the project a success. It will take far too long because LBA lawyers are sat waiting for a legal battle if they are agreed, and this will set the project back 12 months, and that could equally be terminal. The only way this project can possibly succeed is with large-scale investment and development with true business minds behind it, not a team of council-derived want-to-be developers with a budget that stands no chance of bringing jobs to the area. It's a really go big or go home. And in our meeting with Simca, they agreed with that. The investors are now tired, and after 3 years of work and 800 hours of meeting with the CDC Fly Doncaster team, working on solutions, only for this to be dismissed by the council senior management, because they've decided that it's more important to secure money and to take all the gain share funds than open the door to a private sector solution. It's one that assists, one by the actual team that opened the door in the first place by assisting the council to secure a bid for the airport with Peel, which enabled the council to start a CPO, which in turn brought Peel to the table to negotiate. The investment group are not political, they're a business entity. They got access to large pension funds in North America and Canada. And that investment only works with the backing of everybody. So for tomorrow's vote, they are counting on the councillors to make the right decision. They need it for everyone to win, and that includes the area. They've spent 3 years getting this over the line. Now, that is what is on the table. I've seen evidence of that funding, and to be clear, this is not Saudi or Qatari funding. This is funding that is institutional with large financial institutions, and this is ready to go. And as Boris said, it's oven ready. But if a vote goes the wrong way tomorrow, the investors will walk. After a 3 or 4 year battle, it really is over. So if Reform vote yes tomorrow, it will be the end of the airport. And that's all they want to say on the matter.
So we are set up ready to start spraying, but before we start doing that, I need